to failure a lot, you're probably doing way more hard sets you need to do. Thinking that doing more sets is actually going to equate to more muscle. It's not, because what is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve. I have BB Promos to tell like it is. Welcome back to a podcast. We're gonna sit here and chat about a new term I just heard, junk volume. So I just heard it. I'm pretty sure it's new, some new to me. Anyway, I saw Jeff Nippard do a video on it. He was talking about doing a video on it earlier, and I did hear the term a few times. It's on Elite FTS, and for those of you who are probably new to my channel or even watch it, if it's new to me, probably new to you too. So I thought I would talk about junk volume since it's something that I've known about for a very, very long time. So it's like, what is junk volume? So we're looking at hypertrophy, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Always talking about that in the ebook, so get it anyway. And we talk about how many sets are effective enough for you to build muscle, hypertrophy and whatnot. The sarcoplasm being the expansion of the glycogen in your muscle. Either way, so you doing 10 to 20 hard sets for each muscle group a week. We're talking about junk volume as in per sets in a day. Like when you work out, what is useless sets? And that's something I've known about for a long time. I just really haven't heard the term, and I'm glad it's being kind of brought to a forefront, because there's a lot of times people are doing a lot of junk volume. So what is junk volume? Junk volume is the amount of sets you're doing that aren't going to give you anything. I always say it's like kicking a dead horse. It's the sets before your actual hard sets, and it's all the wasted sets after your hard sets. Let's put it this way. If we're doing like chest or something, or whatever we're doing, let's say we're doing chest, okay? The good example actually in Jeff's video is probably the best example I can give you to understand is, like, say we're doing chest, we're doing dumbbell press. Dumbbell press is going to have a lot more stimulus other than like dumbbell or barbell is going to do a lot more for your chest overall when it comes to stimulus. You do a hard set, you know what I mean? How many hard sets do you really need to do? Of that set. So a couple studies done. So basically a couple studies went over. It ends up being around like 6 sets. 6 actual sets in a day you need to do to really stimulate that muscle to grow. Those are the actual sets needed to be done. Obviously those things can change based on that person's level, or so to speak, how that person can stay within those hard sets. So sometimes, so for the most part, most people are going to go around like almost like a trajectory where it kind of goes and kind of flattens out after around 6 sets. For those who are a little more advanced like myself, I could probably do maybe a little more. So it's just on average, it's those 6 sets in a day, 6 hard sets. So if I'm doing like, 4 exercises for chest, how many of those sets are really hard? Then again, we have to think of how many hard sets you actually doing, right? So a lot of what I'm talking about right now, a lot of what I go through is in my coaching and in my ebook. So get one or the other. But for more information, guys, check out the description below. Hit that email right there to get that private email. I'll give you more information about my coaching and ebook. Check it out. If you're looking at it from the start, we want to break it down. A junk set. Okay, junk set is the easy sets of volume going up to your hard sets. Wasted sets or junk sets are also the sets that you do after you've already hit, failure X amount of time. So if you're a kind of person who's training, to failure a lot, you're probably doing way more hard sets you need to do. Thinking that doing more sets is actually going to equate to more muscle. It's not, because it comes to that point of the law of diminishing returns, right? So it's, remember, 1, the wasted warm-up sets you're doing, or 2, all those extra sets past the amount of hard sets you only really need to do, which is around 6 and could probably push around maybe to 8, maybe. Depending, right? I would say level of athleticism or strength or whatever it is. Genetics too can play a big part in that anyway. So it's really good to understand that. Now, like, some people are like, well, how do I know how to, like, what are my hard sets, or my, how am I supposed to know what are my actual, junk sets, right? So here's my thing. When you're training, and if you've already trained enough, like if even if you're beginners, we're going to talk just for beginners, because anyone past that can just definitely kind of get this reiterated. When you're training and you've done a couple workouts this far, like no one watching this channel right now has only trained once. I'm pretty sure any beginner that's watching this is probably trained for like a year, and you're still a beginner to me. It's been a year, okay? So within that, you know how many sets it might take you to get to your working set. Now, when I coach, how many sets do you really need to do a hard set? Sometimes you're wasting too many times doing too much warm-up sets. I say you need 2 warm-up sets. Now, again, we don't want to say like, am I gonna kill my gains because I'm doing wasted sets? No, but you're gonna waste more time for recovery in order to build more muscle. It's like using your time a lot more wisely. So when you first start working out and you know how many hard sets you're doing, you know that probably there's only 2 sets that you only need to do before you put on, before you like work to a hard set. Let's be serious. Like if you do a warm up, say on a bike or a step or whatever, 10 minutes, whatever it is, or you do some functional warming up and you only need about 1 to 2 sets to really find your hard set, pending that your technique and form is all in, all where it needs to be, right? There you go. Then you actually do your hard set and you bring that set to failure. Then you bring another set to failure. And then you move on to another exercise. You're doing dumbbell press. You brought yourself to failure doing dumbbell press. You better believe your chest is very stimulated. How many more times do you really need to do that many more types of sets in order to build muscle, right? So how do we figure this kind of thing out? I say we basically stick with the rep range. In my ebook or whatever, it doesn't matter, my ebook or whoever's ebook or anyone's plan. If you have a minimum or maximum amount of reps, and most people do, it's like 8 to 12, 10 to 15, 8 to, 6 to 8, whatever it is. If you can do more than the maximum amount of reps, that weight is too light. If you can do more, if you can't hardly do the minimum amount of reps, that weight is too heavy. So you adjust so you can stick within failing between that medium and max. That is where you're going to find your actual hard sets, not the ones you can do probably more than 15 or the maximum amount of reps, or not the ones that you could hardly do the set. So like, let's just say you do your first set and you only get you're too shy of the minimum amount of reps. That counts as a hard set, because you failed at a heaviest load you could do, or you misjudged, you put on too much weight and you only got 6 or you only got 2 reps shy of the minimum amount of reps. Oh my God, whoopsie daisies. Next set, you lower the weight by 10% and then you do a set and you get the maximum, or so you get the minimum amount of reps or the minimum plus 2. You're able to push, but you still fail within that rep range. There you go. Done. That's your set. Those are 2 hard sets. There you go. Let's just say the other way around. You go in there and do a set, you do a set, and all right, you're gonna go for your hard set and you put on the weight and you get 4 plus the maximum amount of reps you should be doing that rep range. What a waste of time. But you end up failing because you do that much more reps, right? The next set you do, you increase the weight and it brings you to another failing set, or brings you within that rep range of the minimum and the max. Like you're floating in between there and then you're there, you're good. That's a hard set. You just did 2 hard sets. One by misjudging the volume and going too high and just taking it to failure. And then your next set, increasing the weight where you can actually fail within those rep ranges, right? Within that medium to max rep range. And then there you go. There's your hard sets. That's how you do it, right? Now you got to ask yourself the question. Now you got to judge. Now, how can you really judge this? You have to be honest with yourself. You have to sit there and be like, if you do a set and say you come to failure, you have to really ask yourself the question. I always do this to all my clients when I used to train one-on-one mostly. I would say, if I give you $500, could you have done like 5 more reps? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. I'm like, why did I gotta pay you for effort? And they're like, oh shoot, damn. But really though, the thing is, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to say, could I have done more reps when you hit that max? When you say you've reached failure, could you have done more reps? And that's just, and that's another conversation when it comes to, your RPE. You got to be honest with yourself when it comes to what your actual hard sets are. And that is, if you failed at whatever rep it was, you failed. Could you have done 3-4 more reps? If someone held a gun in your head, could you have done 2-3 more reps? The answer is yes. Right? So, don't take that, but anyway. So that's basically what it is. Junk reps, right? How many, junk reps? Basically, the reps that are wasted, those wasted warm-up reps, and those, beating a dead horse after you've done too many working sets. And when it comes to what does a working set look like? Around 6 hard sets in an actual day. Trust me. That's like doing 3 exercises and 2 hard sets each, or doing 6 exercises and 1 hard set each, right? Again, different variables that will affect that, which is those who train to failure harder, like right away. How many sets can they actually do more than that? And those who are just doing way too many warm-up sets and then kind of waste of time there. That's kind of what junk volume is in a nutshell, in a sense. Really good. Better breakdowns of this if you want to see it. I always recommend, looking around different, channels that talk about, these certain things and see what's consistent. And that's so you can kind of see, you know, how things are, right? Or it's easy for you guys to basically understand. Anyway, so recommend, look around, research for yourself even more. Just don't take my word for it. If you want to get more detailed stuff, you can actually just go up on the internet. You probably go to Lead FTS, click in junk volume, or just Google junk volume, read up on it, and then let's have a conversation about it down the road or whenever the next time we do a video. More questions on this, guys, ask me. Whatever you guys want to talk about, let's talk about it. Let's get out there because I want you guys to know this shit. Remember, guys, 95% of what I say is free and really good free stuff. So remember that. Anyway, guys, hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. You know I'm gonna come out that title. It is Transparent, Vulnerable Truth for coachingjohnshue.com. For all those discount codes and promo codes, hit the description below, guys. Those will help save your life or change your life for the better. I'm on Instagram and TikTok. Send me your progress pics, your foodie pics, and your training clips, and I'll repost it for you. Because you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.